All right, everybody. So let's just arrive where we are. You've made it to your meditation class. Let your eyes kind of soften and take in the entire room at once. How much can you see at once? Without hard focusing on any one thing. Just show up for the totality of this moment. Let this inner world slow way down. Slow down to the speed of this moment, right here, right now. Relinquish your investment in the future. Relinquish your investment in the past. Let go of your personal story and just show up for this moment. Breathing freely in this moment. Nothing to resist or defend. Nothing to achieve or understand. Nothing to build a story out of. And from this place, we're going to enter into meditation. So keep your attention high in your body at the forehead and crown. Let your eyes fall to a spot in front of you, just to get them out of the way. And from there, in this eternal moment, you're going to pay attention to the breath, every facet of the breath. The inhale, the exhale, the gaps of nothing space in between the inhale and the exhale. Just 100% attendant to the complete experience of the breath in this irreplaceable moment in time. Do that now. And we'll talk in a little bit. Give yourself deeper to the breath. Let it touch every part of you. It's okay if it makes you uncomfortable. That'll pass. The breath is safe. You can open up to the breath. The breath is natural. It connects you to your natural self. You can lay yourself bare before the simplicity of the breath. let it all unravel before the breath. Nothing to hide. Nothing to protect or hold back. That's better. Feels better, doesn't it? Protecting yourself from a feeling makes the feeling persist. Feeling the feeling, giving it space, lets it spin itself out, and then it passes. One way works, one way doesn't. And almost everybody is going about it in the way that doesn't work. There's a topic that keeps coming forward for us to talk about tonight. I'm not sure how to enter it. It's the topic of stuckness. There's nothing more unnerving about giving a public talk and having no idea what you're going to say. But here goes. There are two kinds of stuckness. One is the kind most people think of as stuckness. And that's the kind that we have where, and I'm sorry guys, my watch is vibrating, I have to take it off. One is the kind that we all know to recognize as stuckness. It's a lack of movement, a feeling of stagnation. It's usually born out of fear. You have a story of where you can and can't safely go, or what you can and can't safely do, or what energy you can or can't safely expend. And so you find yourself stagnant. This is one kind of stuckness. And it's very uncomfortable because nothing in life stays still. And I know that's a strange thing to say when everything I've been teaching for 20 years is about helping you find the stillness. But nothing in this external world stays still. It's not stuck. And so anything that stays stuck for too long has no energy moving through it. And over time it becomes depleted and brittle. Sometimes people are stuck in the name of strength. You know, they're trying to hold to something, and so they're rigid about it. And that kind of stuckness, you know, in a way it makes you feel energized, similar to how when you take a garden hose and you restrict the opening, you can make it look like there's more power there, more water going through, but it's not really that there's more water going through. It can squirt further. You feel more in control because you've restricted the opening. So it's a false power. And people do that a lot with their personal discipline. And it's actually another form of stuckness. You know, some of the things that I've been willing to change in my life as far as who I study with, or, you know, different paths that I'm on, and my willingness to just step right off of them when it no longer serves me or serves the people that I bring there. It's always shocking to people. He was so disciplined, I don't understand. How could he just step off of it? I'm not stuck. I don't stay with something just on principle. I stay and I keep my eyes open because things are always moving. They're always changing. There is no stasis. Things are always evolving or de-evolving, but what they're never doing is staying still. So that's one form of stuckness. Rigidity, either through fear or even through discipline. Lack of flexibility is stuckness. And there are a lot of people who are very stuck in the name of spirituality. We see what it does to their paths, right? People who think everything needs to be a certain way and they try and hold the entire world to it, and it just degenerates them. You know, before they know it, they're killing people, they're becoming less inclusive, they're letting people kill themselves just out of the pain of not being enough to meet their rigid structure. Nothing spiritual about that, even if it started spiritual. Things go bad. Things change. And so there is no perfect form for you to find and hold yourself to forever. In Buddhism, this is the teaching of impermanence. It's an acceptance that you can't hang your hat on anything. Not even yourself. You jump into the river, and while everybody else is shivering because it's too cold to try and create more warmth, or panicking to keep their head above the water, you're listening. You're feeling out the currents so that your movements are in response to the moment that you're living in. so that you can move with the river in functional ways. That's spiritual life. To get to a part of the river where you have to push to the left in order to keep going straight, if you make a rigid rule out of that, eventually you're going to come to a part of the river where that rule doesn't apply anymore. And you're going to end up butting up against the shore because you're still pushing to the left. That's what stuckness does. Only the consequences can be worse. So, rigidity. One form of stuckness. But there's another form that has to do with motion. So, you have a whole life story inside of you. You have a whole set of rules for the world around you, a whole bunch of expectations about what life is like and what life should look like. And then you have this external world that you are participating in. And while you do your best to find currents in this external world that match the kind of ideal currents that you've got going on in your personal story, what a job should be like, what a partner should be like, all these dreams you have in your head, the truth is those perfect matches don't exist. And so when you step into this world, you step into a world where there's always a lot of friction because you're so committed to what something should look like. And you come in flowing in that way, and you try and participate in a structure that is flowing a different way, doing things differently, valuing different things. And so we have these lives that if we're not careful, you can really lose yourself. Because whatever you place your attention on, you start eventually moving like that. You can find yourself in a job where you step into this new space, you don't really know what you're doing, so all you can do is throw yourself open and place your attention on what's being asked of you. And you step into this kind of whirlpool of movement. This life where you just go around and around and around in a circle. And there isn't necessarily anything wrong with that. But if you don't know that you can step out of it, then that is a form of stuckness that can actually expend a tremendous amount of your life energy. The truth is, you can't avoid falling into these whirlpools. That's what it means to participate in life. You step into things and you shapeshift into what the moment of that thing needs. But if you fall asleep within that movement, and almost everybody does, then you're going to get stuck in a way that makes it so that you limit what you can experience in this life. And the funny thing is that kind of motion-related stuckness spends so much of your energy, so much of your attention, so much of the energy that you use to bother showing up to a class like this or to put into your spiritual practice, that it just starts depleting your personal power. And when it depletes your personal power, it causes the other kind of stuckness, the kind of stagnant stasis stuckness, because you just don't feel like you can push through a barrier right now. You're too busy with your work. You'll do it when things slow down. You'll do it when you come up for air. But that's the thing about a whirlpool. You never come up for air. So the idea with all of this is not that a spiritual person never gets into a state of stasis, and it's certainly not that a spiritual person never finds themselves caught up in a whirlpool or a vortex of something. Everything I've done, including my spiritual paths, have involved those sorts of whirlpools. The thing is that you just don't close your eyes while you're in them, that you're aware in every moment of their cost to your personal health, to the relationships in your life, so that things aren't allowed to cross a line where you can't step out of them. You know, it's funny, we're really cult-oriented people. Even like the ones of us that are not religious, we are religious-oriented people. We become members of things. We get into this groupthink. You know, you get into an office and it's just like, you hate every minute of it, but you can't imagine leaving after a few years. What would you even do? You have to be able to pull out of those stories of stuckness. You have to be able to step out of the whirlpools. And when you're in a stasis position, you have to be able to make yourself act. Now, the answer to both types of stuckness, the road out of both situations, is the same. It's actually, you need to take your attention off the things of man and put it on nature. And what I mean by that is not that you have to go out to the woods, although that would be an option. But you have to place your attention on something real. See, what's spending your energy is that you have merged with something unnatural. Again, it's fine. It's okay to merge with something unnatural. This whole world, this whole human story is unnatural. But unnatural things tend to push things very far in one direction, and then you're spent, and you don't have enough energy to swim back to the shore. So every day, you have to step out of your story of stuckness. You can watch the breath, or you can listen to the silence. Or you can just stretch your attention out and try and see if you can hear the wind of the clouds passing over your head. You have to just stop the storyline and make yourself available to something real. And when you do that, the energy starts coming back in. So a spiritual warrior participates in life. Life is a blessing. And you're here to use these bodies. You're here to spend these bodies. Okay? You're here to go ahead and get old, get some gray hairs, you know. Spend your energy, make some mistakes. That's all fine. But stay awake within it. You know? Don't just get in your car and drive and never look at the gas tank. Stay in touch with your body, stay in touch with your heart, stay in touch with your mind. And knowing how easy it is to get lost in a story, have several times a day where you stop everything and you just wake back up. You know what that's like. You experience it in the first few minutes of any class. You stop, and then suddenly you become aware of what all that unnatural stuff is doing in your body. And part of you almost wants to not meditate because you're less aware if you can stay busy. But instead, we force you to just stop, and you go through this little uncomfortable phase, this little awkward phase. And then it opens up and the flow is restored. The natural flow that keeps you in good mental and physical health. You know, the reason it's so uncomfortable for some of you is that you don't meditate during the week. If you did that every day, you would find it's pretty easy. You know, when I sit down, I'm not immediately uncomfortable. I feel your discomfort sometimes, but, you know, I sit down and I just shift gears. And I open right up. But it's because I'm practiced at that. You can be too. And until you get to a point where you can make yourself do that, just keep showing up here. And we'll sit and we'll wade through those uncomfortable moments. And then you'll wake back up to your comfort. But that is the downside of participating in human life, in the world of the humans. It's not natural. It's experimental. And it spends your energy. So you can't afford to fall asleep within it. Okay. I think that was my teaching on stuckness. Are there any questions about any of that? Okay. Then let's step back into meditation. Meditation again, just being a shift of our attention off the things of humans and on to anything real, anything actually present. Your breath, the room around you, the feeling of your skin. I think the breath is the easiest. Let's do that now. Let it all go. Let the story drop away. This is your attention. Shift it, all of it, to breathing in this moment. Nothing to escape. Show up, open, in this moment right now. Let this be enough. Exactly as it is. As the peace starts to come, open to it. That peace is part of the natural world. Step into it with your attention. Take an interest. So that it may magnify. That's good. Stay awake within it. Find that balance between relaxed and awake. Use that to thread your way through the drowsy phase of true meditation. The clouds of that drowsiness will pass, and you'll be left in a world of crystal clarity. The more you can do this, the more that peace becomes not just a mental thing. That slight charge that you start to feel just makes little deposits in your body that strengthen it slowly, drop by drop over time. It's a long game. You have to stick with it. Every day you step into it increases your personal power. Your ability to choose where you place your attention. Your ability to anchor yourself in what's real and use the unreal story aspect of life just as a tool to interact with others. The more you're there, the more you're there. Okay, everybody. Any questions about anything we talked about tonight? Or anything any of you would like to talk about? Any aspect of your spiritual practice or anything at all? Okay. Then I think I'm going to send you back to your night. But it's great to see all of you, and I will be here again next Thursday. Night, everybody. Thank you.